Welcome to Business Agility Now, the podcast powered by Scaled Agile. I'm your host, Adam Mattis. This is the place to get advice, stories, and perspectives to help you work differently and build the future. Thanks for listening and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. I'm sitting here today with the second most goal-oriented person that I know, and I only say the second because there's always somebody else that's more whatever. But I'm hanging out with Sarah. Sarah, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Adam?
I'm great. I'm actually really happy right now because I know you like to be prepared for everything, and I wouldn't let you over-prepare for this.
Correct. This is very different for me to not prepare and have PowerPoints and talking points and all of that. So it's going to be a very different experience for me, pushing me out of that comfort zone a little bit.
I love it. That's where growth happens.
It does. That's what I do with a lot of the folks I work with. So took it as a growth opportunity. A little scary, but we're here. We're going to do it.
And we're going to have fun.
Yes, we are.
So you and I first met, I don't remember our interview conversation. Did I even interview you for the SPCT program, or was it somebody else?
It was someone else.
That's why I don't remember it.
Yeah.
But I do remember when you came to Boulder, and I knew that you were going to be one of the fastest people through the SPCT program ever, because when you see a goal, you have this strong desire to run through it as fast as you can and smash it into oblivion. Do you think that's fair?
That is totally fair. Totally.
So as Sarah, where did that come from? Like, what's your story? Like, how you are such a goal-driven, like strong-willed, smart person. How does that get built?
So I think it comes from honestly trying to balance being a working mom. This is something that I really try to inspire other women that I know to do. It's hard. It's hard building a career and then having kids to do it. So,
but wait, also, you weren't just building a career and a mom. You were also an Army spouse.
I was a Navy spouse. So,
oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, a Navy spouse.
Did you say something offensive? I thought you said the Navy.
It is the Navy, yes. So it was building a career, putting my career on, postponing my career to be a Navy spouse for a bit, and then becoming a mom and working through it and all those challenges that come there. And not only trying to continue to build my career, but helping other people build their career, and empowering women to know that, there's more out there that they can achieve. They can reach those ceilings and break through the ceilings and not just settle. And so it's a lot of work, but you have to do it sometimes, and especially being in IT, it can be hard.
100%. Well, and it's funny you said Navy, because now I'm looking at Sam right there, who's smiling at me with his big Navy grin. But I don't think people can really appreciate what it means to be the spouse of a service member, because it's not just a job that your spouse has. It's all in for the whole family. And knowing what I know of a family readiness group and the spouses and everything in there, you gotta be tough. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it to make sure that you're protecting your family and your interests and what you need to help everything go well should and when your spouse be deployed. I mean, there's a lot of character that's forged there, and I can only imagine what it must have been like for you.
It was challenging, and we lived overseas, which made it even more challenging to live overseas for 4 years and not knowing the language, not knowing the culture very well. It made it challenging, but I think it made our marriage stronger in the long run. It made us better parents. And then it actually really made me value being a working woman. It made me really value just getting stuff done and figuring out how I can maneuver tricky situations, especially when you're dealing with government in the 100%. Military. Very tricky situations.
So how do you think those things that you learned at that point in life really kind of influence who you are and how you work today? There's got to be some things there that have had an impact, right?
Oh, definitely. I think a lot of it is that go get it kind of attitude. When you're
That's why I love you, by the way. Yeah. Because we're just going to be all right, here's our mutual goal, and go. And there's no more I'll get to it tomorrow, or is this good enough? No, it's going to be done. It's going to be done to standard. And that's why I love you, Sarah.
I appreciate that. And I think that's a big part of why I am how I am. I'm not going to take no. I wasn't going to take no when I was a military spouse, even though.
Or we can't, right?
We
because
can't.
It's no or we can't. It's no we can and we will.
Exactly.
And we'll just
and we'll
figure it out.
And we'll figure it out. And so I think that's moved into a lot of the things I do career-wise, because I'm going to go figure out how to do it. Scaling, you have to get creative sometimes in the framework. And so let's talk about it. Let's figure out creative ways. We're always going to use those principles, the mindset, all of that. But we have to figure out how we can get creative and go do it.
So what was your path like from returning stateside, ... crushing it with tech as an SPCT? Because there's a lot of gap there.
There's a big gap there. And so it was very interesting. We came back, and I have a very unique degree situation in my former life. I actually have a degree in computer science and a degree in religious studies. I actually started thinking I wanted to do children's programming with the church. There's no money there. Not even enough money to pay for daycare. So that kind of got put on the back burner, and that's something I do a lot in my off time, and I volunteer a lot with children in my community. And so I took my computer science degree, and I actually went into being a Scrum Master. I started my Scrum Mastering career there, and I actually started to move up. Moved into project management, moved into product owners, management, RTE, and I really learned the roles by doing them hands-on, which I value. And I think it helps me relate to those folks in the roles a lot more than
sure, you've been in the trenches.
Because I've been in it, I've done it. And so when we're talking about situations they're experiencing, they're probably situations I've experienced too. So we can really empathize with them and then help them figure out how they can work through that situation a little better.
So is that how you found your path to tech? You just kind of said, I need to get back into IT, and then I'm guessing it started as like a contract to perm type role, and you're like, no, this is my home and I'm going to stay here?
It's actually interesting. I started with tech as a contractor, and then my husband finished school, so we moved down to Atlanta for a job. Being a military spouse, that's kind of what you do. You kind of follow behind.
Moving's easy too.
Moving's easy.
Like, you're a pro.
Yep, I'm good with that. Pick it up, moving along throughout the country. And so we moved down to Atlanta from Illinois, and I had a really hard time struggling to find a job down there. And a company that was from the Midwest was like, we're going to take a chance. I had a big gap of employment. I worked when we lived overseas. The problem is I worked like on the military base, not in IT, not in an area that they would vouch for me. And so I had to find someone that would take a chance. And so I had built a couple of years of experience in Illinois. We moved down to Atlanta, and I started back over as a Scrum Master, and then I started to just gradually build those skills. And I think that's really important, is you can't always move up the ladder. Sometimes you have to go diagonal. You have to go sideways. You have to find a path. And I've been very lucky on my journey to build my own path.
Well, hold on. I'm going to stop you there, because luck has had nothing to do with it.
Maybe not.
You will your way to where you need to be, and you find your own path. And like, I think that's it. So like, there's a lot of profound things in what you said. Like, we can all agree there's no career ladder anymore,
no,
right? Like
there's definitely
that thing's been blown to bits, and there's no clear path. And I think it's really important. I think where a lot of people struggle, and not to go too far in the weeds, but last night we had a really cool event. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I feel really passionate about is I'm becoming aware of my age and the distance between my age and the people that I still think I'm the same age as them. It's growing. So I'm owning that. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to work really hard to bring some people kind of into my circle that are of the same headspace to bring people into our fold, right?
Definitely.
Because part of growing in your career is throwing a line to pull the next people up. So like, we're really trying to do that. And we had an event last night where there were a lot of amazing people that showed up. The event was just a meetup here in DC. And our goal was to start connecting people who have an interest to get into tech with people who are in tech. Mm-hmm. And one of our partners, I won't say who, ended up coming last night. She's a director in this firm. She works with a lot of government clients here in DC. And there was a lot of amazing people that showed up. There was one gentleman that there was something about his personality that you could look at him and say, okay, you're going to be a Scrum Master. Mm-hmm. But he doesn't know tech, or he doesn't have anything else. And there was another woman that just relocated. She spent the last 2 years in Paris. And she built her own business to help people understand how to become an expat. And before that, she was a teacher. Mm-hmm. And she's back in Virginia now. She's ready to start a new season of her life, and she was intrigued by this influencer that we're working with, who's a Scrum Master at Universal Orlando, and she follows her on TikTok. Like, her whole platform is, I want to bring women into tech. So she came to the event after seeing that, and she just lit up the whole room. She's got just the best natural ability to problem solve and connect people that I think I've ever seen, but no experience in tech. And this woman that was there from the partner saw what I saw in these two people and gave them both, I mean, as you said, the chance. They're interviewing with her next week.
That's amazing.
And there needs to be more of that. And I think, your trailblazing attitude to find your way and achieve what you wanted, that's a big deal. And there's people out there that are waiting to see that, right? Like, they want, like, I don't care what your experience is. I want the drive. I want the personality. I want the attitude. And if I see it, I'm going to give you that opportunity. And I just think it's kind of cool that, like, you started your career as being one of those people that's like, I'm going to figure it out. Yeah. And then you found your tribe, that you're people that are like, I'm going to give you a chance and invest in you and give you all the opportunities that you say that you want. And I think there needs to be more of that. Like, especially right now in the market where there's so many people that are just like throwing resumes in a black hole.
Definitely.
It's not about that. It's people.
It is. It's really building your network. It's building skills. It's taking a chance. It's pushing for what you want. Like, it might not be perfect, but there's a time you have to sometimes make a gamble and a jump. And I think all of us in our careers have had to do that. I know that when COVID hit, I took a gap, not a gap, but I took a jump to a role that ended up being a complete lie. They threw a lot of money at me. It was great for my family. I said, you know what, I'm going to do it. If it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Like, it's a building block to something else. And I think people forget that at times. Like, you really have to build your career and build those skills. And sometimes just taking that jump that you might not know where it's exactly going to lead.
It leads somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you feel like people sometimes struggle with knowing what it is that they want?
Oh, definitely.
So I work with a career coach, and I've worked with her for a lot of years. Actually, I think I probably have her trapped because I won't let her leave me. I started working with her a lot of years ago, and I needed help solving a problem. And I think I've just kept paying her for the last 6 years because I'm basically paying her to be my friend at this point. But
sometimes
the point
you have
is,
to do that.
She starts with, whenever she works with somebody, she will not let you tell her what job it is that you want, because people thinking in that ladder mindset, right? They're like, I am this and I have to get this so I can continue growing. And she's really good at helping you figure out, well, it's probably not that. Like, you actually probably don't want to do that. Like, let's figure out what it is that you want to do and what value you want to create and give to others. And then we can figure out later, like, what that job is.
Exactly.
And people really struggle with knowing what it is that they want to do. They think they want the title or the money without ever really thinking about what they're doing to get it.
Exactly. And I honestly don't care about the title. I've never really looked at the title. It's always been about, what am I actually doing? And not only what am I actually doing, but does it make me happy? Which a lot of people forget. Like, to me, if I'm not happy in my role, if I'm not solving something or pioneering something, then I probably are not going to stay very long. And so letting me have that creative outlook and outlet to do something is really what I strive. And so, yeah, I might have a title and I've moved positions and I've grown, but that title doesn't define me. And when people ask me, where do you want to go next? Well, I don't care about, I want to be VP or I want to be director. Yeah, it'd be nice to have those titles, but that's not truly who I am. Like, I want to help people grow their skills. I want to grow that next generation of Agile coaches or SPCs or Scrum Masters, whatever that case is. I don't care what my title is to do that.
So with that goal perspective in mind and not caring so much about titles, let's talk about your SPCT journey.
Yes.
So you came highly recommended from your boss, who I now, like, I've inversed my perception of Mike. I'm kind of like, let me talk to Sarah. And then, like, I'm sure Mike's fine.
Yes.
And, like, so I think for him it was strategic. He's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
If Sarah's here, I have to worry about so much less.
Yes, that is exactly how it is. We are a great yin and yang. I am incredibly organized. I figure out where we're going and what we're doing, and he's great at the brainstorming and coming up with a lot of different ideas.
He's
and
also good at the chill.
He is good at the chill, which is a good and a bad thing.
Yeah. PIplanning.io. If you know, you know. If you don't know, well, go check out YouTube. But you'll have that little jingle in your head the rest of the day. You're welcome. Today's episode is powered by PIplanning.io, the go-to solution for your PI planning needs. Struggling with remote planning sessions? PIplanning.io brings your team together wherever they are. It's user-friendly, incredibly effective, and makes complex planning a breeze by providing a real-time collaborative environment and seamlessly syncing planning results back to your ALM of choice. If you've ever had to do this sync manually like I have, you know how powerful this feature is and how much time it saves you. Elevate your Agile game with PIplanning.io. Plan smarter, deliver faster. Check it out today at PIplanning.io. Now back to the show. So when you started, when you decided to begin down the path of becoming an SPCT, why was it appealing to you? Why did you want to do it?
I had some amazing coaches, Adrienne Wilson, one of them, that really inspired me. She didn't even know she was inspiring me at the time, but she was one that just inspired me when she came into the company I was working at the time, and she showed me that women can do it all, that sometimes you have to be a little strong to leadership, and doing that isn't going to hurt you, and it's going to actually probably help and propel your perspective in the organization. So working with her and a couple other folks, it really just encouraged me that I want to be that next generation of women to help grow others. So,
well, and that's what the role is really all about, right? I think some people are attracted to it because they think, money, prestige, and fame.
Not me.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not that really. I mean,
No,
maybe there's more money,
cool.
the prestige and fame, meh. But you really do get to build and develop others.
Definitely.
And that's and you get to do it in a lot of ways. It's not just training SPCs.
Correct.
It's going into organizations and having a different perspective and a different motivation. And I think for you've actually taken the responsibility and have built something kind of cool that you gave me a pamphlet about that I've discarded and I won't read because I just want you to talk about it.
Yeah, Adam won't read my one pager that I created, but it's
okay, but hold on.
one pager.
Let's be honest. The thing that's freaked you out most about this conversation is I have refused to allow you to prepare.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, we're just going to talk. We like each other as people, and we're going to talk.
Yes, and it is working. It is working.
And you're smiling. You're having fun.
Yes,
we're having fun.
Yes, we are.
Okay, so talk to me about what you have built and are building at Tech.
Yes, so I have built this academy experience. It's a cohort experience where we're bringing newly certified people into the cohort, and they're small cohorts, maybe around 5-6 people each cohort, and they're building that hands-on experience and knowledge. So when you get your certification, I'm not sure about you, but I know I was super scared to teach my first class. I got in a room with a bunch of senior executives all by myself, dealing with all logistics and the coursework and everything, and I was scared. And I can't tell you if I was good or how bad I sucked. I'm sure I had moments in both, like everybody, but this experience really helps them build skills of presenting, of teaching, of even basic coaching skills that a lot of times you don't have. And so how do I give feedback about something that I'm seeing in my organization? So it's a couple different programs. There's one for SPC, there's one for RTE, some product owner ones and management, and then a Scrum Master one. So they're really focused on the different roles so that they can build the experience and the hands-on, that confidence that they're missing with just the book knowledge.
So tell me about the cohort model. I mean, what does that look like? What's the dynamic like? Why did you pick that?
So I really am passionate about learning from each other. I don't have just all the great ideas. Adam doesn't have all the great ideas. So we can all learn together on our own journey. Everybody's on different journeys in life, different places in their career. And so the cohort model really helps with that. So we have in the SPC Academy, we have brand new coaches. We have some RTEs that are moving into the SPC space, some Scrum Masters that are moving into that SPC space. And so because they have all different knowledge and career goals and stuff, that helps them with presenting the context differently that we're talking about. Maybe their experience in coaching is a little different and the activities we do are a little different, but they're growing from each other. Plus it's building a community within their organization. So when I leave, they're still there to support each other, which is key in my opinion, because a lot of times transformations and activities that coaches come in to implement will fall apart when we leave. So building that community, that support system internally is going to be huge for them.
So how is this, I'm asking a leading question that I think I know the answer to. But so can you explain how this model in this vehicle is different than what typically happens in a LACE or a community of practice?
Yeah. So a community of practice, a LACE, maybe they meet once a month. Maybe they have a general topic. Maybe they vote on it. It's probably more set for an enterprise, where this cohort model is very specific on a role, and we have very specific curriculum items. So we pair you with a mentor, we pair you with an SPCT or an experienced SPC that's going to actually be that person that you can go bounce ideas off of, go practice presenting, go dig a little deeper on various topics. So you have more of that support system that you might not necessarily have in a LACE that's more worried about the enterprise or a whole department.
So it's more about developing skills versus solving
Correct.
problems. So it's kind of neat. It sounds in a way like we used to have a program when we were way back in the olden days. When we were launching new Agile teams and new arts, we had this concept of a dojo.
Yep.
And we would pull the entire art together, or the team, depending on the context and scenario. And we would run what we called hyper iterations.
Exactly.
So you would do in a single day, maybe 2 full sprint cycles.
Exactly.
Maybe, every twice a week, you would do a full PI. And the things you were building weren't huge, but the idea was that we're going to go through all of this as fast as we possibly can, because that forces us to focus on the basics.
Exactly.
Right. So when we plan, what's the goal of planning? No, it's not to debate like we're not tasking, we're not estimating tasks. Like, we're just trying to figure out real quick, what are we trying to solve? What is it most like what we've done before? Assign a value, move on.
Exactly.
And then you commit, you deliver, you go to lunch, you come back, you do it again.
Exactly.
And at the end of that, few day PI, you actually have stuff to demo. And maybe it's not big and groundbreaking, but it's something. And that's just like a light bulb thing. Then you do it again. And we would end up spending 2 to 3 weeks in that hyper scenario. And by the time we're done, we've gone through at a very rapid pace all of the team forming, norming, storming, all that stuff. And at the end, you've got a pretty high performing team.
Definitely.
It was that was a lot of fun. I haven't done that in a lot of years, but those were fun.
Yeah, and we have a whole dojo practice at TEKsystems too. So we work with lots of our clients who do dojos, which are fantastic when they're working. It's not necessarily something that I focus on a lot, but I do have a little bit of experience there. And I mean, it goes back to building those skills, building them as a team so you can get through the forming, storming, norming phases, or just understanding how the team should be working on the people on the team, which a lot of times is forgotten.
You know what just occurred to me, Sarah?
What?
I met the other Mike in your life in one of those dojos. He was a participant in one of those dojos
really?
a whole lot of years ago.
Wow.
I completely forgot about that until this exact moment.
That's awesome.
How also did you surround yourself with so many Mikes?
I don't know, and I don't know how they're still all around me either.
Oh my goodness. Okay,
It's
so
crazy.
the whole dojo thing, I mean, it sounds like, not the dojo, but what you built to help the RTEs and the Scrum Masters and others, it fits super well with your purpose and the things that are most important for you.
Definitely.
How did the whole thing come around? Like, how did you pitch it? How did it come to fruition? Did you just will it into existence? Did you hard sell and hard close?
Some of it was a hard sell, but really it came down for me looking back in my career. And I had some amazing mentors and coaches, and which I think is absolutely critical. You have to have mentors in your life. But those conversations that I had with those folks, those areas that I struggled with as I was growing my career, I reflected on how can I make it better for others? And that's really what I strive to do. And so I looked at where were those struggle points I had, especially being a new SPC. That's really where I started with this. And let's form some kind of cohort so that we can get folks over that hump. I know I was really nervous, very scared, starting my first train. It would have been awesome if I had a mentor initially or a coach initially to help me with that. And I didn't. It was a company that just didn't have the money. So I had to take a class. I had to figure it out. But looking back, how much more productive could I have been if I had someone? And so this was one of those journeys where I was like, there's definitely a need. If it's a coach, if it's just a mentor, there's a lot of folks out there that I've worked with over the years that we might not meet every month as a mentor, but they reach out to me and they're like, oh, I remember that story you said. It happened to me. And they get all excited. And it's amazing when they reach back out. But I do have a lot of mentors or mentees at this point that they just get excited, and just conversations I've had with them over the years, it's like, we definitely need a need for this, not just book learning, but how do I build confidence and hands-on knowledge and experience.
So if people want to learn more about this, or if they would like to have you come in and run something with their organization, like, where do we go to get more info? Because you know what I'm going to do, Sarah? I'm going to scan this. Okay. I'm not going to let you send me a PDF.
Okay.
I'm going to create my own PDF.
Okay, create your PDF.
But please send me the PDF.
Yep, I can do that.
And I would like to make sure that we include this beautiful PDF in the show notes.
I can do that.
But if people want to engage, if they want to learn more, what's the best way?
They can find me on LinkedIn at Sarah Blaesing.
We'll link that too.
Yep, we can do that. You can find me at TEKsystems Global Services, at Strategic Agility at TEKsystems.com.
Can we talk about tech real quick?
I can.
So tell me about the company, because I think tech isn't what a lot of people think it is.
Correct. So TEKsystems has a staffing arm, which is what most people know us as. I mean, as a staffing, but we also have a global services. So we have a strategic agility group, which comes in and does a lot of the agile transformations, safe partnerships, dojos, a lot of training, all that kind of fun stuff. And then we have an AWS partnership. We have a Google partnership, Red Hat, lots of different tech partnerships too. So we come and actually do a lot of other stuff than just staffing, which people don't realize.
Well, and that's exactly why I asked, because I think when Mike first came across my desk and it was from TEKsystems, I was like, well, what's this? Mm-hmm. And I was really surprised to learn about the whole services delivery component, because when I lived in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, that's what I knew tech as. And like, I actually got some Rex plays through tech. So it was really cool to see that they had the service delivery component. But what was also really cool to me was the level of quality of the service delivery, because it's, in this market specifically where I'm sitting, it's competitive.
It is very competitive.
Right?
And we really want that partnership with our clients. We don't want to come in and dictate this is how you have to do it. We really want to understand what the outcomes are you're trying to solve, what are the problems you're facing, and then build a solution that's going to work with you and in partnership deliver it with you. So when we leave, it's not going to fall apart. We want to make sure you have that solid foundation.
Well, and that's the hallmark of any good consulting organization, right? The goal isn't to come and land and expand and be there forever. The goal is to come in and help you achieve whatever your desired outcome is, and then leave you self-sufficient so that you can continue to sustain whatever that is on your own.
Exactly.
And then you have that trusted advisor relationship so that the next time there's an issue or a problem or an opportunity, well, we have that success together, and then you call me back. But It's not because you have to have me. It's because we have trust and I helped you win.
Exactly. And I think that's key, even with this academy model I was talking about. If it was a lot of companies, they'll just bring in their consultants. They'll stay forever, do your training, run your trains, whatever the case is. I want to grow your people so that when I leave, your people are dealing with your transformation and growing your people versus me staying there forever. So it is a very different model. And I think that's what I love about tech. It's more of that partnership.
Sarah, you're an amazing person.
Well,
if I haven't told you that in the last 15 minutes, you are. I want to thank you for taking the time to hang out. And I want to thank you for humoring me and just allowing us to have a conversation.
Yes. Well, thank you for stretching my skills and making me feel comfortable.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with us before we wrap it up?
No, I think I'm good.
Sarah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you like what you hear, please refer us to your friends and colleagues and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. I'm your host, Adam Mattis. See you next time.